In this video, I'm going to share with you what you can expect from your pregnancy or your partner's pregnancy journey in the Netherlands. If you are planning for pregnancy in the Netherlands, I advise you to discuss it with your GP so he or she can already prescribe prenatal supplements if needed, such as folic acid. Once you have a positive pregnancy test, find out a practice of midwives to schedule your first appointment. In the Netherlands, you will probably be followed by midwives who will refer you to an obstetrician if you have a risky pregnancy or if you need a specialist. You may see different midwives within a clinic over the course of your pregnancy, as they don't know which one will be available at the moment of your labor, and they want to guarantee that you are familiar with everybody. You are free to select a midwife of your choice, and you can check the Royal Dutch Organization of Midwives, where you can search for practices in your city or town. I will share the link in the description below. Expect to meet with your healthcare provider once every 4 weeks during the first half of your pregnancy, and as you start approaching your due date, the weekly appointments will start to increase. Of course, this will depend on your personal situation. For example, if you are expecting multiples, you will have to be checked more often. Health insurance. It is good to check what your health insurance covers before or at the beginning of your pregnancy. Some expenses are covered by your standard health insurance policy, such as appointments with your midwife, ultrasounds, and prenatal tests prescribed by your midwife or obstetrician, giving birth at a hospital with a medical referral, or postnatal care at home. On some occasions, you are required to pay excess fees, which can then be better to have an additional health insurance to cover these extra costs. The additional package can cover costs with prenatal tests without medical referral, pelvic floor, physiotherapy, maternity package, and additional postnatal care at home. In my case, I did take the additional health insurance. Don't forget that there are deductible fees, so the amount you are required to pay before your health insurance provider will reimburse you. I believe in 2024 you are required to pay the first 385 euros yourself, and once you reach this amount, the healthcare provider will reimburse the other costs, if included in your health insurance package. A good website to compare health insurance policies is independer.nl. I'll leave the link in the description below as well. Now that you schedule your first appointment with your midwife and you checked if your health insurance meets your needs, I believe it is time to find a daycare for your baby if you are planning to put your baby in daycare after your maternity leave. I advise to do this as soon as possible because some daycares have waiting lists of 1 year, and if you will need help, it is good to guarantee that your baby will have a spot available. Daycares in the Netherlands offer care for babies as young as 3 months, and having your baby in the waiting list is usually free of charge, and you should consider registering with more than one center until you get a spot confirmed. Another task that you can already take out of your way is to register with the Kraamzorg. This is the support that a maternity nurse provides after childbirth in your home. I think it is quite unique that families in the Netherlands receive this type of care a week after birth, and the main task of the nurse is to monitor your health and the baby's. She checks your stitches, temperature, blood loss, and also keeps a close eye on the baby. The nurse also supports you and your partner to look after the baby. She can explain how to wash, change your baby, and help with breastfeeding. Housework and cooking are also included. And the sooner you register, the better, because the number of hours that maternity care can be supplied will depend on the region where you live, the period in which maternity care is required, and the time of registration. And because I only registered 3 months after I found out that I was pregnant, and because I live in one of the big cities, they could only guarantee me the minimum legally required, which is 24 hours spread over 8 days, when the standard is actually 49 hours spread over 8 days. The Kraamzorg is part of the basic insurance, but you do pay a personal contribution about 5.10 euros per hour if you have the Kraamzorg at home, which can be reimbursed if you have taken additional insurance. Around week 30, you will be contacted by the Kraamzorg of your choice to schedule an intake interview with you. Here, they explain what you should expect from their care services. And one thing that I found very interesting is that they don't provide care if your bed isn't at least 80 centimeters from the ground. If that is not the case, you can order some free cones that will elevate the bed, and I'll leave a picture here for you to see how they look like. Now that you made a big check in the Midwives, health insurance, daycare and Kraamzorg, it's time to look a little bit at the exams and checkups that you can perform during your pregnancy. The first appointment with the midwife usually takes place between the 8th and the 10th week of pregnancy. You will discuss due date, previous pregnancies, yours and your partner's health, family health, and your personal situation, including work. Your blood pressure and the size of your uterus are checked, and the midwife will also provide you with a lot of information, such as the timeline of the exams and checks that you can perform. During this appointment, the midwife can offer you to do blood tests to determine your blood group, your rhesus blood group, and if you are exposed to infectious diseases. Next, you have the term ultrasound, usually performed around the 10th week, and in this exam the baby is measured and a better estimate of your due date can be made. The NIP test is a DNA blood test that can detect, for example, Down syndrome. This test is available to all pregnant women and can be performed from week 10 of pregnancy. And in the Netherlands, it is not allowed to test the gender of the baby at this time. Then you have the 13-week ultrasound, an extra prenatal check where the development and growth of the baby is checked. This scan gives a good picture of the development of your baby's organs and can identify anomalies before the 20-week ultrasound. If you choose to take this scan, it is subject to a national study and at least until 2024, which meant that you could not take without being part of the study. Next is the 20-week ultrasound, which is the very extensive examination. Checks for possible abnormalities in the baby, looks at bones and organs, checks your uterus, placenta, amniotic fluid, and can be performed between the 18th and the 21st week. Usually this scan, you can find out the gender of your baby. All these exams, the term ultrasound, NIP test, 13-week and 20-week ultrasounds, are included in the basic insurance package. And these are the standard ultrasounds, and if more ultrasounds are required, the midwife will prescribe them, which means that there is a medical referral and you will not need to pay for it. There is also the growth ultrasound between week 30 and 32, where your baby's measurements are measured, and the location ultrasound week 36, where your baby's position is checked. But I think these ultrasounds are at your own expense unless there is a medical condition. In regards to vaccination, they recommend to take the whooping cough injection at 22 weeks, which protects both pregnant woman and baby against whooping cough. Your midwife will discuss with you your birth plan, and it's important that you have an idea of what you want. My suggestion here is for you to do as much research as possible on the different possibilities for your birth plan, which can include but not be limited to where you want to give birth. In the Netherlands, it's more common to give birth at home when compared to other countries in Europe. If you want to give birth in the hospital, what are the list of hospitals that you want to give birth, or a birthing center, who is allowed to be present, in which position you want to give birth, if you want pain relief, and if yes, which one, who can cut the umbilical cord, and if you want to delay the cord cut, do you want to breastfeed, and which interventions are allowed, and much more. So doing this research and having a plan for me brought me much more peace when thinking about the birth process, as I feel that I'm more prepared and I'm more familiar with all the different scenarios that can happen in the moment. As I'm perfectly aware that even though you have a plan, things will most likely go completely different. And if that happens, I will probably make more informed and faster decisions. Last topic is the leave. Pregnant employees are entitled to different types of leave. 4 to 6 weeks of pregnancy leave before the due date, and at least 10 weeks of maternity leave after childbirth. So in total you have right to 16 weeks of leave. Then you have the parental leave, where employees with children aged up to 8 years old have the right to parental leave. Parents get paid the first 9 weeks of parental leave, and they receive a benefit from the UWV, the Employee Insurance Agency, which is 70% of the daily wage. And these 9 weeks of paid leave have to be taken during the child's first year. The partner is also entitled to leave, having the right to 1 week of parental leave after birth, which can be taken anytime in the first 4 weeks after birth, and during this period, the 100% of the salary is still paid. Then they have the right to 5 weeks unpaid leave until the first 6 months after birth, but they can claim benefits from the UWV for up to 70% of their salary. And then the previous 9 weeks of parental leave also apply. It is very important to know your rights and to make sure that your application to the UWV benefits is made on time, which should happen 2 to 4 weeks before your maternity leave starts. I'll leave helpful links in the description below for you. I really hope that this video helps to bring you an overview of what to expect during your pregnancy or your partner's pregnancy in the Netherlands. Previously, I made a video of my pregnancy experience in the Netherlands compared with my pregnancy experience in Portugal. If you are interested to know a little bit more of my personal experience, I will leave the video here and I hope to see you there.